is Werner Strauss. I came to Papua New Guinea as a missionary with my wife and a 4-month-old daughter Miriam in 1971. And our first place we stayed was Ogelbank, because my uncle, German Strauss, who did metal language and the Bible, he looked after us for 8 days. And then we went on to Kendagel, which was an evangelist school. And then I was asked to start youth work in the Highlands, but was stationed at Ogelbank. And after 6 years, we had our first fellow in Germany. Then we came back. We were asked to work at Ialibu. And we worked in Ialibu from 1977 to 1988. And then the church asked me to. Then we had 1 year sabbatical leave in Australia, where I studied communication. And then I came to Ley to help the church with film library, with New Guinea Lutheran, with Christian radio. And then in 1991 we left Papua New Guinea and were sent by the ELCPNG to Singapore, where I started the Seafarers Mission, working with crew on ships in Singapore, and I worked with the Lutheran Church in Singapore there. So this is the kind of, and our son Micah and our son Marcus, they were born in Mount Hagen, and the hospital is a little bit different now, but still they were born there. And Micah, who came with me now, he has his different experience, of course, like Daddy, but it was very nice. So we decided that together we will come to be back to PNG, but not alone. That would have been, so we decided, okay, I go with him and he go with me. So that's beautiful. After 35 years we came back here to PNG. And now my first day, everybody noticed, they should notice, there are big changes in Papua New Guinea, but there also is the old Papua New Guinea there. For example, the friendliness is still there. People laugh like always. They're very friendly. They're observing in a very unbelievable way. For example, we traveled with a B&B from Ogelbank to Mount Hagen, and Micha, he forgot almost his dog pigeon, so he tried to speak. The next day we drove with the same B&B, and believe it or not, the driver noticed that his dog pigeon is already better. Now this happens only in PNG. In Germany nobody would notice that. But anyhow, and this friendliness, like in the Synod, I walked around with my pilum and the zip. I couldn't work with the zip, it was not broken, but I couldn't close. Immediately, the lady came to me and said, "Can I help you?" Beautiful. And then she fixed it, gave it back to me. And this is something which is the old one. That's old Papua New Guinea. Friendly, laughing, ready to help all the time. And this is what I really feel. It's old, but the new one. What my biggest problem was that everything is done through WhatsApp now, the mobile. I was from morning to night on the phone because people arranged something with me, because we did everything through Papua New Guineans. I had no help from anybody. We just arranged it through Papua New Guineans. We knew, like you, we said, can we meet? So this was the most exhausting thing, being prepared. Even at night 11 you get a message, you have to answer. And this is a big change. The communication goes very much in these days through telephone. Even people sit on the street and wish that is a big change. And the biggest change where Micah had problems is the population. I mean, before when you went to Hagen, you had a smaller group of people here and there. But now Wherever you have people and people and people. So I think the population must have grown 4 times more than when I was there. And Micha had a problem, was shaking actually, because he was suddenly the only white. And he wasn't afraid, but he felt funny. Everybody looked at him. So he was, in the first 2 days he had real problem, but now of course it's different. So these are the kind of changes we felt, but it's still, I feel we came home. It's still beautiful country. The people are lovely. I know that things happened. We had problems before, even in here at the Budipam Bridge we were stopped, stoned. But this is part, you have everywhere your problems, so this doesn't bother me. And one nice thing is about the changes. Like a pastor asked me, what do you think about the changes at Ialibu? You wouldn't recognize our station anymore. But important is that the changes, they can't take away your memory you have of your place you were before. So when we walked around, you saw flowers here, you saw our old bush house here. It's stored here. So that's the beauty. The changes are necessary, but the nice thing, it doesn't take away your nice memories you have of the place. So Micha, he knew exactly where he was playing, driving around, and so that was very, very, very beautiful. And that's very important, that we need changes, but the memory of the place where you lived will still be there, and that's beautiful. So, we are overwhelmed. I have ding gloomy around us. I can't sort it in a way, because daily I went out, I go somewhere, people come immediately, Werner Strauss. And this is, I feel so overwhelmed by the friendliness of the people that very often I wanted to cry, because I don't want to put myself in the middle. No, that's not the point. But that they came to me, they knew even my name after so long time. We went to a village, and there were 2 men. They came to me, they cried and said, when you came to our village, you brought a little machine. We did this for the young people, that they put sugar cane in, and then the juice comes out. They remember that there were little boys, and they said, you came, and I showed them the picture. I had picture along. Beautiful. They remember. Now when they're old, they were crying. I said, you brought this machine in our village. And this is so nice that they remember something. They let me know. Or they said, I worked with you, and I can't remember anymore, because I had so many. And Singapore, of course, was completely different whole game in Singapore. But they remember things, and it's so nice that they say, you did this to me, you worked with me, and we built this together, this house, Kunai, beautiful. So this is the kind of experience I have. And one of the big issues is, I very thankful, appreciate what we have in Germany. We are so privileged. People die here because there's no medicine. I mean, how privileged we are in our countries. And that I learned new. When I go home, I will say more thank you than I did before, because we are privileged. But it does not bring down the spirit of the people. That's beautiful here. I mean, die is part of life, but they take it differently. But still, they don't lose their spirit, so to speak. When something happens, they just take it. It's a bigger issue. So that's a kind of experience I have, and I'm very thankful. I mean, I'm 81 years old. Age is catching up, of course, with walking around. But God is so good. He gave me the strength I need, and I walk slowly. But outstanding. the help I received everywhere. Wherever I went, people came, they provided a car, and it's so beautiful. And very often I was ready to cry, real. Yeah, it's very nice to come back. A lot of people said it's crazy to go with 81 years to Papua New Guinea, but I did it and I never regret it. It is for my wife. She wanted to come, but she has problems with her health. But she said, "You go." At one time, I didn't want to go because I have problems too. But she said, "You go. That will be for your life very important, and it is an experience I wouldn't like to miss very much." So more or less, I wrote something down, but I don't think this is the kind of, more or less, we have more question, but that's the kind of impression. It's a little bit mixed up, because have not sorted it out.
Since you left, with the growth in population and the country is going through very challenging times now, including the church as well. So, how do you see the future of the church now?
The church is
in this very challenging times.
Yeah. This is amazing. For example, at the Synod, everybody works together. Here, the Synod is not, say, part of a department, and they do it. No, everybody works, helps. Whether they bring cow or they have. And I had two experiences. We had trumpet choir up at Ialibu. And this group, they came a week earlier to practice the whole day. But what did they do? They helped the Ialibus with fixing things. So they practice in the morning, and then in the afternoon. And that's something hard to experience in other countries. You concentrate on your trumpet and that's all. But they practice in the morning, and in the afternoon they help the Ialibu district to get things finished. Outside or inside, beautiful. Something you see, it's their synod. It's not the ELCPNG synod, it's everybody's synod, it's people's synod. And the other, you heard perhaps about these bicycle drivers from Morobe, unbelievable. And not only they only drive, no, they have services between, they stay with people. Beautiful. Where do you have this in the world that people go with the bikes from Morobe? I think they are from Bukawa, huh? I think they're from somewhere. Right to Ialibu with the bikes. And then I said already, they're not only riding the bike, they're staying with people, they serve them. Beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful mixer of things, and that's what I like. It's the same when you have sermon here. The people just don't listen, they clap, they talk, so they are involved, completely involved. And what I'm amazed is, it was before the same, that how Papua New Guineans can talk for 20 minutes without notes. They don't have notes. It's a governor or a preacher, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, because it comes from the heart, it just flows. And that's what I always learned from Papua New Guineans. You need something to come from here too, I understand that. But very often it comes only from here. We forget that the heart should play a role too. So this is very impressive. They talk without stopping. And they don't just talk nothing. It's really meaningful. And the pictures are all in here. I wouldn't be able to do that. So this is very impressive. So the church is definitely alive. No doubt about this. in different ways. I know church has problems too, but that's part of being a church. But the church is definitely alive. There's no doubt about it. If Ialibu would have been the same, everything the same, I would say, where is the life? It's still the same house, the same flowers, but here completely gone. And this is part for me that the church is alive. They want to move on and build new churches because the small one from before or the one from before is too small. So I think the church is very active, and they're very active in the what do you call it, deep sea mining. They had up there, they had houses springing up. So it's not concentrating on the gospel, but it's also on the environment, on the life of people. They're very much involved, and it's real. I said already, I know problems are there, but they're always there. But they try to live the gospel, to love people, to love Christ, and this is very, I'm very, very, always, I was before and I'm still very, very impressed the way they get active, involved in the sermon, in doing, like preparing the Synod. I mean, what people walk for hours just to bring a bag, not just, but bring a bag of cow. But they do this because they want to be part of the Synod. Very nice. It's not a separate identity, it's our Synod, at least at Ialibu, Emmanuel district. So this is the way I feel. That's why you can say the church is really alive. And I always learned, and I still learn a lot from here. I wish we would learn a little bit more, because this is, yeah.
Now, just last month there was this big trouble in Mosby.
We landed.
And then, despite all this, coincidentally, so happened that the Synod happened shortly after, and it brought the country together. So it sends a strong message of hope.
That's right.
What's your comment on this?
Yeah, I think that the Synod in a way came at the right time to show that people can meet together. I mean, I don't know if I should tell you my opinion with this is, it's no criticism or anything. For me, this is something which I feel very, very sad in my heart. I see so many young people walking around. No work, no hope. Now that's one point. But that does not give them the right to loot stores and burn down stores. But I can understand the young people. They have education but no job. But that does not give us the right to do something like that. But I learn to understand, and in Hagen too, when I see all these young people, they have education, but they walk around, no hope. And I would be, this is a big prayer, but I would be very happy if the government find ways to employ young people. Because without a job, you still can live on cow. But that's, I know Papua New Guineans say, can still live on cow, I think, or whatever other fruit you have. But I think that's the only comment, that it hurts me very much to see so many young people walking around. But again, I can't say what the solution is, because I don't live here and I don't want to criticize. But still the young, I understand the young people or the youth, but it does not give them the right to do that. They should find other ways. The government, how far they are involved, I don't know. I mean, I know something, but okay, but the Synod was a kind of place of hope that we can work together. We talk to each other from Kote, even they're different than the Highlanders. And I think, Papua New Guinea has always a way out of things. I believe. They don't let things like Mosby influence their life much. They try to do something, but they wouldn't be like in Germany. We would have panic and thing. But here, life still goes on because they have a different understanding of life, Papua New Guineans. Like before we said they can live from cocoa. I knew some government people at the time when I lived here, they suddenly feel this is too much for me. They gave up their good job, went to the village, had their garden and were happy. I don't know if this is still now. I can't say much, but when I came to Hagen, I felt immediately my heart was not very happy to see so many young people walking around without jobs. And then, of course, if you have no hope, you start getting a little bit out of way. But the right to do that, I think you don't have a right to do that, but you have a right for a job, okay, and bring this together. That's real up to the government, and whether they find ways, I have no idea. I don't want to get involved much in it, but that's where the church is a real hope for the people, because the church can influence people. The gospel can influence. When I worked in Hagen, many young people, through the gospel, they became new people. They didn't fight anymore. They said, we don't fight anymore. So I think a law can't change people. You have to change the heart. If you change up here, you have to change the heart. And the only thing to change the heart, I think, is part of it is the gospel, and we have that. So the church plays a big role in getting the big changes going, and eventually lead, because Papua New Guinea has everything you dream of. They have fruit, they have gold, they have gas, they have garden. You can live from your garden. But yeah, okay. I had.
And amidst all these problems, how do you see how do you think the church and government should work together to address this problem?
Here?
Yes.
But they do, huh?
Yes.
I think this is the beauty that, for example, the bishop, he would meet with the Prime Minister and he tells him clearly, for example, deep sea mining is not the way to go. Okay, we are damaged. They work together, but how far the politicians listen to the church, I don't know. But my main job was to build up youth work.
What year was this?
Youth work in...
What year? What year did you come in?
71.
Yeah.
So there was no youth work existing, more or less. And I started in the Highlands. And this, see, for me, it's not, there is a big result for that. But it's not mine. I was just part of it. Okay? But wherever I went, I heard, thank you that you came, helped us to start youth work. It's so active. I was part of that, but I wasn't a big player. I was part of it, and I'm thankful for that. And this is youth work is outstanding. When you go to services, see, this is something, the youth is involved. Services, they play guitar, they play trumpet, they preach, and it's very beautiful. So I did the first 6 years youth work, and I went to Lokauing, to Overping Seminary, to MLS. I taught even the Catholic Church. They asked me if I can help them, the Good News Lutheran Church. So I went around and did that. And I wrote together with Papua New Guineans a book, Walk About One Time Young Fella. This is about youth work. And when I worked here, I found out one good thing is for missionary to leave something behind. And I wrote a lot of material. And the highlight was this concordance. I don't know if you heard about it. I did a Bible concordance for Old and New Testament. It's a big book. It took me about 30 years to finish. And so I always had a feeling it's good to give them something first of all, they remember you in one way, but the message that they have something in hand. Like when you study journalism, you have books to read, you have this, and this is what I felt the workers need at that time. Of course, now they have a lot of things on the phone, but before it was books, and they're very thankful for that. And then after 6 years, the church asked me to be circuit missionary at Ialibu, but I still continued with the ministry, and then I trained the Papua New Guinean, Stephen Yara, and interesting, that's a nice story. He became chief on the same level than Somare for youth work. I never heard about that, just recently. He's a chief. So when I visited him at Decca, Mount Hagen, he told me that he's a chief because of the youth work. And I said, "Oh, chief, I am a little part of that you are now chief. If you wouldn't have stayed at Ialibu, you wouldn't be a chief now. So this was part of your life, and remember that makes you humble. That not you only worked and became a chief, but people helped you on the way. So that is a kind of little result. And then here, when I came to lay after Ialibu, I worked here in communication office, and we started, I don't know if it still exists in Seafarers Mission at the port here in Ley. We had a little seafarer center, the Catholic, the Anglican, and the Lutherans here in the port for years. I think it's still existing. We look after seafarers, and we also started the Puimu, the prison ministry. It's still big, and
yes, I know about the prison ministry.
Yeah. And so I started that during my time, and also Puimu, the prison. And at Ialibu, I worked at Puyepi, I think is the prison in Mendi. Puyepi? Yeah. There we built a church, and when I was at Ialibu, I went up to Tari to start a Lutheran church up there, and it was a long way. You go up to 3,000 meters, I think, very high. But anyhow, so I went around a lot and started something which is still there. Lutheran church in Tari is very strong, and that's one thing I'm very thankful that when I left, things didn't collapse. Because just one example, and this is important for me at least, that I baptized people before, but then I found out that the right hand, people think, has more blessing than the brown hand. So when I found that out, I talked with the circuit president and I said, "I'm sorry, I am not here to take your work away and your blessing." So I stopped baptizing people. And then they had to get used to the brown hand, because I don't believe in that the white hand has more blessing. But they were very angry with me. So when we left, a lot of people weren't happy with us because they wanted blessing. And this I never supported, because I said, I go, but you have to stay. And that bears fruit now. That I said, I always thought Papua New Guineans should be in the front, not me, and have the understanding of blessing. I don't agree. So, but there was Circuit President was very thankful for that kind of understanding, because missionary is always to think he is the one leaving and Papua New Guineans stay. And if you don't have Papua New Guineans, that people understand the blessing does not depend on people. It does not depend on color. If you don't do that, they keep on with this understanding. And then the church sent me to Singapore. You have been to Singapore? Huh?
Yes, I have.
Can you believe coming from here and working in Singapore that we were able to? We stayed there for 16 years. We built up Siemens Mission in Singapore. I worked with sailors. But the understanding is, you know, Chinese, it's different. They have you invest and you get profit. But how can you get profit in the spiritual way? And the sailors always swim away. The ships go, you can't follow them. So that was quite hard. Coming from here where everything in PNG, everything is relationship, right? Relationship is the big issue. In Singapore, business. Understand it, that's okay. But in here, it's relationship. Doctor. There is business, and to change from relationship to business, very hard for me. It took me years to settle in Singapore. And then after that we finished our ministry and retired. Since 2009 we are retired now in Germany. And we try to help people there a little bit on the edge of the church. We don't work in the church anymore. I mean, there are enough workers. We work outside a little bit, trying to tell people church is one thing, but your faith is another thing. You can believe in Christ and you still don't have necessarily follow a church. So this is the kind of story I have.